Within Northwestern's associated student government, as an entire committee resigns.
Students and Hillel celebrate Israel's 70th anniversary.
And big changes could be on the way to Northwestern dining. We'll have those stories and more coming up tonight on the Northwestern News Report.
It's your news right now. The entire ASG Accessibility and Inclusion Committee resigned last week. Good evening, I'm Andrew Marica.
And I'm Nikki Griswold. Esther Wells is here now with the latest.
Thanks, Nikki. After a close election for Northwestern's Associated Student Government President and Vice President, there's still some hostility among the candidates. The tension came to a head last week when an entire ASG committee resigned. I spoke with the former Vice President of the Accessibility and Inclusion Committee about the events leading up to his decision and his plans for the future. Government Senate Wednesday, Vice President for Accessibility and Inclusion Austin Gardner announced the resignation of the entire A&I committee. He, along with the 14 other members of the committee, resigned in the wake of ASG's election, which made Sky Patterson president and Emily Ash vice president.
Students feel like they've been violated by some things that happened during this election process, and students have the right to know that that's happening. This organization's not doing what I believe it should be doing, and so I'm calling on it to be better.
Gardner ran as a candidate for vice president in an oppositional campaign, but ultimately lost to Patterson and Ash by about 7% of the vote. While the decision of A&I committee members to resign was crystallized by the election outcome, a letter to the former ASG president cites several ongoing concerns that contributed to the resignations. Among these, ASG's, quote, history of maltreatment of the NU community and, quote, history of co-opting students' work and presenting it as its own. ASG's Deputy Vice President of Public Relations and the Director of Communications for Patterson's campaign sees it differently.
I have no idea if any work was co-opted. I know that Sky and Emily put their platform together thinking about really coherent policies that would really help students in this university, and that's really all I can say for sure.
Gardner and the 14 members who resigned will continue to promote inclusiveness, but from outside ASG. Patterson, too, says she will prioritize accessibility policies and pursue diversity on campus. Former ASG President Naharika Mulakutla advised senators to focus on making change in the community rather than on getting credit for their work. Patterson and Ash are now in the process of selecting their executive board.
So Esther, how do Gardner and the former committee members plan to continue their work on campus?
Well, Gardner plans to start a new student group because he and the former A&I committee members say they didn't feel comfortable under the ASG structure and even under the ASG name. They plan to continue pursuing inclusive initiatives, but from outside the ASG organization.
All right, thanks, Esther. The state of Israel celebrated its 70th birthday last week, and students from Northwestern Hillel commemorated the milestone with a week of Israel-themed programming. NNN's Joey Safchik found out what the occasion meant to Hillel and how the event is relevant in today's political climate.
That's Israeli music playing at Mock Shuk, an event hosted by Northwestern Hillel last week. The rock was transformed into a miniature Israeli market in celebration of Israel Week on campus. The Mock Shuk was one of several events hosted during the birthday week of the world's only Jewish state. Israel Week is a collaborative effort between Hillel and the Jewish United Fund's Israel Education Center. Ariel Sheffy is the chair of the Israel Week Planning Committee.
It's a subject that people often avoid just because it's contentious and it's very difficult and sometimes emotional for people as well. And my goal throughout Israel Week was really just to open up that conversation, bring in diverse perspectives, celebrate diverse perspectives, and teach people something new.
Just like it got people who were just walking past, going on their way to class to eat a falafel or learn a little bit of something, which I thought was really cool.
Behind me is the Northwestern Hillel Center. It was in this building that the Israel Week Planning Committee decided to make their programming twofold. They would have celebrations like the Mock Shuk, but they would also have events that were educational in nature, like conversations about Israel's economy or its political impact.
I really like everything that we do with like Israeli culture and all of that, but also like I think that Israel Week is a really great opportunity to begin a conversation about Israel and not necessarily close a conversation.
Because conversations about Israel can be controversial, the planning committee did discuss the best way to approach celebrating and conversing about Israel around campus. According to Sheffy, there was no backlash, and many student organizations were willing to partner with Hillel for this week in some capacity.
We didn't adjust any of our programming in order to try to prevent any sort of backlash because, you know, if anything, like, we would welcome that conversation and want to, like, civilly take part in it.
In honor of Israel Week, Illinois State Senator Daniel Biss came to campus, a special Shabbat service was held, and various dances and shows brought the community together. Joey Safchik, Northwestern News Network.
Later this month, Hillel will host its 3rd annual Nuremberg Family Foundation speaker event with New York Times columnists. More information can be found on the Northwestern Hillel website. And finally, it looks like temperatures are climbing.
But will this spring weather stick around? Charlie Rode is in Studio B to let us know.
Thanks, Nikki and Andrew. Spring weather is long overdue here in Evanston, and it's looking like it might finally start to stick around. Right now, we're looking live at the Rock, where it is a balmy 54 degrees, continuing this week's warming trend. While this week has a couple cloudy spots, be prepared for a beautiful weekend to relax outside or on the Lakeville, as the sun will bring us to a comfortable 69 degrees. More on that and your full weather forecast ahead.
Thanks, Charlie.
And find out what Stephen Colbert had to say after ComFest Saturday.
I'm Matt Stunn. Friday, April 20th, thousands of Americans gathered to celebrate 420. We'll break down the multi-billion-dollar pot industry next in Money Minute.
Go you Northwestern, go Northwestern, break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. At Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
ComFest concluded with a star-studded gala Saturday night that celebrated alumni success and showcased current students in the School of Communication.
Now we're coming together, wildcat birds of a feather.
Late-night talk show host and alumnus Stephen Colbert emceed the event titled A Starry Night. Fellow alumni including Brian Darcy James, Richard Kind, and Harry Lennox joined him for various performances and appearances, while current students provided a sneak peek of this year's WAMU show.
It's the easiest and nicest benefit gig I've ever done because I want to be here. I love my time here. It's easy to be sincere about how this place changed my life. Frank Galati, Leland Roloff, Bud Byer, and Woodworth, those people changed my life and opened up a whole new artistic world for me, and I'll always be grateful.
I was so honored to be a part of this evening, and I owe Northwestern a great debt that I'll never be able to repay, but I'm glad to have at least been able to contribute a little bit to this evening.
Thanks, everybody! The marijuana industry in the U.S. is massive. It was worth about $9 billion back in 2017. Now, just to give you a comparison, that's roughly equal to the annual revenue from Pampers diapers, and it's only getting bigger. By most estimates, it'll balloon to about $47 billion by 2027. Marijuana, of course, has been getting a lot of attention recently, both in its medical and its recreational forms. Last Thursday, a Food and Drug Administration advisory panel unanimously recommended approval of a cannabis-based drug to treat epilepsy. Now, if approved, that drug would be the first cannabis-derived prescription medication in the U.S. We have also seen colleges offering new degrees in marijuana studies. The University of Northern Michigan now offers a degree in medical plant chemistry, and apparently it pays pretty well, we're told. The school estimates that a student could earn as much as $70,000 with that degree upon graduation. While medical marijuana is legal in 29 states, recreational marijuana is legal in only 9, plus the District of Columbia. But there's evidence it's actually gaining some traction among consumers. An October Gallup poll shows that 64% of adults in the U.S. support legalizing marijuana. That's actually the highest level of support we've seen in 5 decades. If support for pot continues to rise, that could be bad news for the alcohol industry in the U.S. We know that 80% of consumers report a reduction in alcohol consumption when they are consuming cannabis. Currently, the marijuana industry in the U.S. is on shaky ground legally, but things could change as Canada and some states in the Northeast plan to legalize marijuana later this year. With Money Minute, I'm Matt Stein.
Northwestern has concluded their comprehensive process of picking a new food supplier. Some students are not happy. NNN's food reporter Mano Blackman is here to tell us more.
That's right, Nikki. Some students are actually fighting the change. I talked to a few of these students to find out why. A 6-month bidding process for who gets to feed Northwestern students finally came to an end recently with Compass Group as the highest bidder. Northwestern previously used Sodexo, Aramark, and Compass Group to fill everything from dining halls to vending machines. But they wanted to consolidate everything under one supplier. Compass Group scored the highest on aspects like food quality, experience, and sustainability. Meredith Bracken, Director of Brand Voice and Digital Strategy for Compass Group, says they hope to bring new elements such as mobile ordering and delivery, interactive teaching kitchens, and non-traditional dining venues using bikes and upcycled Volkswagen vans. But despite potential improvements in food and prices, students are worried about current workers. A new unnamed group of students came together under sophomores Isabella Coe and Sari Lee to draft a petition ensuring that food and service workers retained their rights in the transition.
So students who were interested in fighting for food service workers' rights on campus decided to make a group me and start speaking about organizing towards first understanding the issues and then taking the necessary action to protect food service workers.
While both Compass and Northwestern released a statement saying all workers would maintain their jobs, they have not mentioned transferring any workers' documents from Sodexo and Aramark.
Basically, everyone who is employed by the university at this point is at risk of losing their jobs if they have to resubmit paperwork, if they have to go through things like background checks and drug testing again.
While students at Northwestern continue to push the petition forward, Northwestern has not responded to the petition and has declined to interview. Students like senior Hannah Schiller have been showing support by signing and circulating the petition and urge others to do the same.
The more students that are involved, the better. You know, we gotta have food service workers and general service workers' backs because they're always taking care of us.
Mano Blackman, Northwestern News Report. Northwestern and Compass Group both promise more information in the coming weeks regarding the resolution of the petition and information on changes to food services.
Thanks, Mano. With this big change, what new enhancements would students like to see to their food around campus?
We asked them in this week's edition of Rock Talk.
Hey everyone, I'm Hyo-jung and I'm at the Rock here to ask you what you think about campus food. With Compass taking over NU dining management, what changes in food would you like to see on campus?
I'm not really sure. What is Compass?
Honestly, I would just like to have more healthier options, whether that be like sushi or like a better salad bar.
More variety in fruits.
I don't know, maybe some more fresh ingredients and stuff.
More variety of food options for later hours.
More citrus options.
Every time I would go to the dining hall, it would be like the same chicken, the same pizza, or the same salad.
Just like a little more variety too.
Like Asian, American food, or Mexican, and everything like that.
But I mean, I don't know. I've only been here once. I don't even go here.
If you have an idea for a future Rock Talk topic, tweet at us at NNN_news.
We'll be continuing the slow, laborious climb towards comfortable spring weather. I'm Charlie Rode, and I'll have your 5-day forecast and more after the break.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
You have a sense. Okay.
Northwestern, break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, spread for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
Welcome back. I'm Charlie Road with your 5-day forecast. Starting off tomorrow, expect gray skies with the occasional rain, with a high of 65 and a low of 47. The clouds will go away on Thursday, however, with a high of 67 and a low of 48. So it's shaping up to look pretty nice going into the weekend, as long as you don't have classes on Friday. While we're still expecting to stick around a high of 67 and a low of 51 Friday, it'll be cloudy, but with only a 20% chance of rain. Despite the frequent clouds throughout this week, get ready to get outside Saturday. We will finally see the sun with a high of 69 and a low of 48, so it's shaping up to look pretty nice outside this weekend, especially on Sunday as it cools down a little bit to a high of 63 and a low of 48. Expect some beautiful spring sunshine throughout the day. I'm Charlie Road, and this has been your 5-day weather forecast. Back to you.
Thanks, Charlie. Northwestern Provost Jonathan Holloway announced yesterday that Kimberly Yuriko has been named the new Dean of Pritzker School of Law. Yuriko served as interim dean of the Northwestern Law School in 2011 and has been on faculty since 2002. She succeeds Daniel Rodriguez, who is stepping down this summer. As a tenured faculty member, Yuriko is a scholar of employment law, anti-discrimination law, and gender equity. Her term as dean will begin September 1st.
The Global Engagement Summit kicked off April 18th with 32 delegates from around the world.
NNN's Jessica Vitti joins us now live from Studio B with more. Jessica?
Thanks, Andrew and Nikki. The delegates participated in 5 days worth of activities, including the Open Shutter Project exhibition and a special guest speaker.
And these two women, with entirely different recipes in their blood, had the same libraries on their fingertips.
This past Thursday, Global Engagement Summit brought international poet Amal Kassir to campus as part of their speaker series. Alex Karahelios and Emma Smiles, the co-chairs for GES, say they wanted this event to reach more people on campus.
We wanted this year to, first of all, really pick like an empowered woman, and second of all, somebody with like a more international focus and somebody who has experience as a young social change maker both in the U.S. and abroad, because that's exactly what our delegates are doing.
Kassir spoke about her experiences as a Syrian-American woman growing up in Denver, Colorado, and the people she has met through her travels as an activist.
You have to know yourself. You have to know what you stand for, what your values are, because at any day the stage might present itself to you.
Echo Shi attended the summit as a delegate traveling all the way from China. She, who is the same age as Kassir, says she faces a tough choice between the stability of a job and her passion for activism.
For me, what's really touching is that she said you have to be sincere for what you are doing. So I think everyone in this room or in this Global Engagement Summit are coming here just like her. Like, we are trying to change some things. We are believing in ourselves.
The event included an open shutter photography exhibition and silent auction. All proceeds went toward delegates' projects.
Bringing the intersection of art and activism in one place, that is something historically that has always been in times of strife.
This night has always been traditionally a very artsy night, so we really wanted something to tie in the kind of arts night and art as a means for social change, and I found Amal, and it was the perfect fit.
2. Throughout the rest of the summit, delegates had a series of workshops, networking events, and small group sessions focused on developing their projects.
All right, Jessica, so what are some of the projects these delegates are working on?
Well, Andrew and Nikki, GES is a conference for people with social change-based projects and startups. One of the delegates I spoke to works for an education program that is publishing a guidebook for local organizations to help solve local problems and installing training programs in universities to help support young entrepreneurs.
Thanks, Jessica. Coming up in sports, our Adam Bronstein catches up with a star forward on the Northwestern women's basketball team.
All right, we are clear.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
You have a sense. Okay.
Northwestern, break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, spread for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. At Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
Northwestern basketball player Palace Kunai Akpana moved to the U.S. from Nigeria when she was a teenager to play high school basketball. NNN's Adam Bronstein caught up with Akpana to see how she adjusted to life in Big Ten college basketball.
The transition from high school to college is difficult for many, but now junior Northwestern women's basketball player Palace Kunai Akpana says she was ready for the challenge.
I was able to easily transition into the college lifestyle because ever since I was 10 years old, I'd been living in boarding school.
At just 10 years old, Palace moved out of her childhood home in Nigeria to a school about 40 minutes away. A few years later, she made an even bigger jump, this time to the United States to play high school basketball. That school in North Georgia helped shape Palace into the person and player she is today.
The community was very accepting and just very welcoming, so it kind of made it easier for me to transition from home to the U.S. When I got to high school was where I started to really build on the fundamentals, learn how to make layups and how to dribble the ball.
Those fundamentals are a big part of the reason why Palace is now one of the best players in the entire Big Ten Conference. This past season, she averaged a double-double and credits her coaches and teammates for helping her develop as a player.
With the coaches and my teammates, it really pushed me to kind of expand my game and kind of become more of a force in the paint.
With just one collegiate season left, people are wondering both, does Palace want to play professional basketball afterwards? And if she does she have what it takes?
You really have to make the most of your athleticism while you have it. So I'm definitely looking forward to having a great senior season and hopefully going to play in the pros.
Head coach Joe McEwen says pro scouts have already taken notice of Palace's great talents.
I get that from a lot of the pro scouts, coaches, GMs that are looking at Palace now, and they're looking at me like she rebounds that would be incredible in our league, meaning the WNBA.
Between now and when the season starts, Palace says she is focusing on expanding her game and becoming a more complete player. From Evanston, Illinois, Adam Bronstein, Medill News.
And coming up, we catch up with a member of NU's ice skating team.
At Northwestern, we're Wildcats in every way.
You have a sense. Okay.
Northwestern, break right through that. With our colors flying, we will cheer you all to go. Go you Northwestern, fight for victory, sweet victory, spread for the fame of our fair name, and go Northwestern, win that game. Go Cats!
At Northwestern University, we are pioneering innovation and achieving excellence across every imaginable discipline. At Northwestern University, the possibilities are endless.
Northwestern's synchronized skating team took to the rink at the Robert Crown Ice Center Friday night for their annual figure skating show. And as the team wraps up their final rehearsals, NNN's Andy Weir caught up with one of the skaters before the big show for this week's Northwestern Newsmakers.
Blood, sweat, and skates. That's what it takes for Medill Jr. Evelyn Metrick to succeed in synchronized figure skating. Evelyn's been skating since she was just 3 years old when her parents brought her to her first figure skating class.
I really started because my parents put me in lessons. I was 3 years old, so I didn't really know anything about what was going on, but I guess I enjoyed it enough that I continued with it.
Skating wasn't all easy for Evelyn. The intense practices and long hours burnt her out by the time she had finished just middle school.
I actually started falling behind in school because we had to travel out of state for competitions and that kind of thing. We were always at the rink for several hours. I wasn't able to keep up with my homework. Tests were coming up on me and I didn't even realize it.
Come sophomore year of college, though, something new had rekindled her old love of skating.
I didn't know Northwestern had a team until one of my friends, I saw that she was on the team, so I reached out to her initially and asked for some information, and that really kind of renewed my interest in skating. I thought, I haven't been on the ice in a few years, maybe I should try it out again.
Sophomore Simone Lashuk is one of Evelyn's teammates. Though she's new to the team, she says she connected with Evelyn almost immediately.
Every time I'm around Evelyn, she is just so kind and so nice. She's like a ray of sunshine. She genuinely makes me feel like I have a place on the team.
Evelyn, Simone, and their teammates rounded out the season not with a competition on Friday, but with an exhibition of their favorite routines instead.
Every season in the spring, we do an exhibition for the school and for any friends or family who want to come. We perform our competition program for everybody, and then we break it up by years. So there's a junior, a senior number, and then underclassmen. Some of our skaters choose to do solos or duets, and then we also have a couple of guest performers who are coming.
The night was full of fun, laughs, and plenty of team spirit, of course. And for Evelyn, that's what skating is really about.
What I like most about figure skating is the team aspect. I was never really an individual skater. I've always been out there with a group of girls. So it's great to create that bond and create almost that sisterhood with everybody out there.
Andy Weir, Northwestern News Report.
What a wonderful story. Well, that does it for the Northwestern News Report tonight. I'm Andrew Marica.
And I'm Nikki Griswold. Good night.
What wonderful stuff in my mouth.